order flow, everything else in between. If you are joining here on TikTok, I don't want to say it's new, but I'm a bit more on the new side to TikTok. We're going to go over some key levels, some price levels, everything else we might need to look for during these markets and within these markets. All right, so let's leave that there. Apply. Let's move that over there. That's fine. Okay, we are chilling. YouTube, we're good. Discord, we're good. Everybody sees the screen. Okay, everybody's cool, calm, collected. Love to see it. All right, so let's start with our daily time frame on the ES. First thing we got to know, guys, is the NASDAQ has officially entered a correction territory. Correction territory is below 10%. So with the NASDAQ being down that 10%, now it is a little bit above it. What I would like to mark out here, actually, no, I don't think it is. So we'll take our measurement tool, mark it from our all-time high to 10%, and that's going to bring us right here, 24,198. We see that we have surpassed that level and then some. We've moved down now. We take our measurement tool, check one more time, and see where we were just recently, 13% down from all-time highs. Now, something to mention and something to note, guys, when we're seeing these more bear moves, this more bearish market, things are hitting 13%, 14%. I mean, this is obviously some bear markets we're seeing right now. It's not going to give us a smooth move lower. It's going to chop around. It's not going to give us just, oh, boom, hit sell and you make money. Wish it was that easy, right? That would be nice. That's not the case, though. We do have to wait for our setups. We do have to wait for a good entry. However, when the sellers do step in, as we see it being a trend, when sellers step in, it's a lot stronger. So when it gets a lot stronger, we're going to catch much nicer and bigger moves. But with that being said, too, we want to be careful that we don't have too tight of a stop loss when we're seeing a much larger range. So let's see. Let's go look at the ES first. Let's mark out our previous day high. PDH, previous day high, our previous day low. I see we already took out our previous day low. We could check Edgeful. Yo, what's up? Good morning, Kevin. How are you? We could check Edgeful and see. Let me see. What are we at? Previous day low. Good morning, guys. Good morning, everybody. What's up, Ozzy? Andrea, good morning. Mike, Garrett, JB, good morning. What's up, Mike? Yo, how's your weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Good weekend.
Good, bro. Happy to hear it. Yeah. Do anything? It was all right.
Me and the wife went out for dinner, so that was cool. Got some jeans, nothing major.
Got you.
It was good. Good to get out of the house.
100% always is, right? Okay, so 2-hour time frame is the spot I'm seeing on S&P right now. Is I want to see a pullback towards, well, we're actually in this zone right now. I'm going to delete this blue one. I'm going to see what that other blue level was because I have a bunch of blue price levels. Could delete these now, are no longer relevant. So I have the supply zone that we're in. We have a pre-market high right at 64.81. I wanted to see a pullback towards that 6,500 key psychological level right there. What's up, Tim? But we'll see. I know you, what's it called? TikTok, you guys don't have the video right now because the camera's assigned to YouTube right now. And this is like the third live. So I have to hit, after this third live, I'll be able to use a different source for the camera and be able to get that going everywhere. Marzity, good morning. How are you doing? How was your weekend?
It was a good weekend. Did some outside stuff. Stayed up too late last night, so this morning.
Gotcha. Again, guys, a bit more of a bearish bias today. I wouldn't be entirely. It's like I keep an eye on the previous New York lower high we created over here. Ideally, we do want to see that hold. If we're able to see that hold, create some lower highs. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. If we are able to hold this, right, make our way back lower, we're in for another big move to the downside. Seeing that we are entering that correction territory on NASDAQ, well, we're already in it. And on the S&P, we could also see where we are. Use our measurement tool, all-time high to where we're currently trading at. We could bring it to the low we were at too. So look at that. S&P wicked, just tapped into that correction territory overnight. So very cool. Very cool there. We'll see how that momentum is. Right now, we're only 9% of the way. I'm going to find that 10%, guys, and we're going to mark that with a, let's see where we at, like 83. So 63.83. 63.83. We're going to mark that as our 10% correction level. 63.83. Going to go into the settings. We're going to do correction. 10%. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And we'll make it, let's see, we'll make it yellow. Make the level yellow. All key levels are yellow. We can make this one stand out a bit more though, right? We can make it dashed. Do want to look back and see what this level was. This level was pretty solid. Look at this. This was our previous all-time high back in December of not last year, but the prior year, 2024. This is our major sell-off we had back then. Look, this is when we entered that correction territory, and then even a bit of a crash, almost a crash territory below the 20% there before we had Liberation Day. Well, guess what, guys? What's happening right now? We're starting to get that pullback. We're starting to get that sell-off now from those all-time highs again, hitting that 9%. Now, 20%, we'd probably be looking at, here's our 20%, 56.36 on the S&P 500. That would sort of be our make or break. Yo, Tim, I appreciate you, bro, on TikTok. Lighten up the like button. That's awesome. I'm so new to, I have no idea like how to use TikTok. Like I know how to scroll, but I got to figure it out a bit more. Let's see. Good morning, everybody. Let's see, 1 hour. I'd really be keeping an eye too on the different time frames to see if we can find some type of reversal move or a strong sell-off, not just on the 5-minute, but let's say on the 15, 30-minute, possibly the hourly. But right now we have been slowly climbing up. Could take a quick look at market. Don't forget, Fed Powell speaks today, 10:30, guys. Now, it's not an FOMC style of meeting, but he is still speaking. If he mentions anything of rate hikes, if he mentions anything of a negative aspect, it's going to have a bit of an impact on the market. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's 10:30, so we do have some time for that. Let's run through our news feed real quick on market. Let's see. High impact. Saudi crude exports from Yanbu approach capacity in Hormuz workaround. U.S. Treasury Secretary Bissett on Iran oil. U.S. will take control of Strait over time. That's what Bissett is saying, but we also know that that's what Trump was saying too at some point. So fortunately, with that knowledge, we have to know that it could just be something he's saying as well. But, you know, who knows? We did the whole Venezuela situation. Pretty sure we're in control of their oil now. Who knows? I know he also mentioned in a headline that Cuba's next, right? So very, we'll just go with a very interesting times we're living in right now. So we'll keep an eye. And it's important, guys, that as traders, it doesn't matter what our political views are. It doesn't matter what anything is. What matters is how markets are perceiving these headlines. And we don't know that until we start seeing the ball roll on some of these. If we see U.S. Treasury Secretary Bissett on Iran oil market is well supplied, great. That would help the S&P. That would be something that would call for a rebound there, right? But we have to also take note of the source. It's Treasury Secretary Bissett. Markets don't really have a strong hold on what Bissett has to say versus somebody like Trump. So if Trump said that, we'd be flying right now. I do want to see, because this move higher has been made overnight, I really want to see, was there a stronger headline overnight somewhere? Some India stuff. What's going on, guys? Good morning. On the horns, inflation growth dilemma. Fed Chair Powell will speak at Harvard. I will tell President Trump nobody can stop the war but you, says Egypt's President Sisi. Zelensky stuff. So nothing really major. And again, looking for overnight. Bank of Japan, Japan government. Just nothing U.S. related. S&P uncertainty over U.S. tariff policies is likely to abate significantly following agreement between U.S. and Japan. Which agreement is that? Now, let's see. JPY strengthen. We'll look into that. We'll see what that's all about. All right. Take a look at NASDAQ now on the charts. Guys, here, let's see. This is my trading view, right? So here we have the S&P, the NASDAQ. Usually it'll be like same size. VIX bottom left. Weighted index. This chart down here is the weighted index. What that is basically a combination stock. Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, and Meta, all at these specifics weighted, sort of like how many shares per on this chart. And that gives me this chart. So it'd basically be like looking at our equities, which is the top 6 charts that we look at. Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Nvidia, and Amazon, but into one chart. So if we start seeing some momentum here on our weighted index, it starts trending. Guess what, guys? That trend is going to show itself also on the NASDAQ and S&P 500. So this is a great confirmation, especially when using with something like the VIX, right? VIX moving higher, that's an inverse of the S&P and NASDAQ. We'll check this out. ES started moving lower here, right? VIX started moving higher, new high of day on VIX, new low of day S&P. Weighted index selling off, nice scalp right there. Same with the NASDAQ. So again, that's the weighted index. Very useful, very helpful. We'll be keeping an eye on that today as well. I do want to delete some of these zones that we had on the S&P down here, these demand zones that we sort of just ran through. It's important. It's funny. It's important. I always say, don't get married to a zone, right? Don't get married to an old price level. Don't get married to something that is no longer there, that is broken, because then you'll end up having so many extra zones on your chart. Previous day low is correct. Correction level is correct. I do wonder if we can make our way back to that correction level on the S&P. That is 81 points away. Not too out of the ordinary, seeing the moves we have been having. Seeing, I should say. However, we also want to look at the intraday moves, right? Intraday has been chop, chop, chop. It's really been the overnight that's been giving us a consistent move. This day right here from 10 o'clock to about 3, look at that. That was an all-day trend, 95 points on the S&P. So it's not unheard of. We just got some headlines there. Again, don't forget Powell speaks today at, what is it, at 10:30. Keep an eye on that. Economic calendar wise, we don't have anything else today. I believe we have non-farm payroll this Friday. Yeah, non-farm payroll and unemployment this Friday. I'll be covering that on Market in the Morning. That's on the Market AI YouTube channel. That is this one. Where we at? Friday. Non-farm payroll, unemployment, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. 9:15, guys, markets open in about 15 minutes. We're not jumping into any trades right now. We got to wait for markets to open, possibly give us an entry. Got to remember, too, guys, some people use an orb strategy. That's the opening range breakout. And they don't take any trades until after the first 15, and then we break one of those directions. Speaking of the orb, I'm going to be hosting a free webinar in not next week. I was going to do next weekend. Next weekend, though, is Easter Sunday. So I'm going to do the following weekend free webinar, just trading strategies to get you started. Going to cover the opening range breakout, the initial balance, a few versions of the initial balance, like initial balance by breakout, initial balance by rejection, and also the gap fill, like the New York session close to New York session open gap fill. So 3 basic strategies that you could sort of help use to gain some structure if you're still sort of on that beginner phase and looking for that structure. it's important that if you are looking to become a trader, guys, you're not looking to find somebody to catch call outs from. You're looking to learn because you want to be an independent trader yourself, right? The goal of trading is the income from it, of course, taking care of maybe a job or something that you guys have, or some people like the extra, right? But the goal is to not be dependent again on somebody else. A lot of people come to trading because they don't want to listen to a boss or whatever. I'm with it, man. If that's your case, then you got to really treat trading like it's your business. And businesses do require some levels, some follow through, and really some structure. You know, you have to have, for consistency, right? You want consistency, right? Which means consistency. You have to have routine. You cannot have consistency without routine. Have your pre-market plans. Have your levels that you look at every day. That routine will help you build consistency. Let's check again. Daily time frame. We took care of this. Hourly. I did want to just quickly run through and see if we had any like demand zones we formed to the downside on this run up, but I really don't see anything consistent. It's been a slow grind higher where price has been chopping. We're really going to just let that play out. And let New York session open. We got 12 minutes. I'd want to see if we could sweep towards 64.86 to the upside first. Here on Bookmap, guys, we do have some passive sellers sitting at 64.70, 75, 80, even some at 87.92. I mean, it goes all the way to 6,500 is where we have 207 lots at the moment since I opened Bookmap at 850. So those have been sitting there. And if those stay there, then we're going to see that area as a bit of a magnet for price. Yeah, absolutely. I got you. I am 100%. That's going to be again, not next Saturday. I'm sorry, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. Guys, don't forget, markets are closed this Friday for Good Friday. Okay, so that was ES. Take a look at NASDAQ now. And same situation, right? Routine, consistency, all that. Previous day high, previous day low. Levels I look at every single day. We found our correction level already on NASDAQ. We're below that. That's not something I look at every day unless price is relatively close to that area, right? If prices are at all-time highs, I don't give a crap where the correction level is, 10% below us. But hey, if we're sold off from those all-time highs, I want to know where my 10% correction pullback is. I want to know where my 15% pullback is. We want to know these levels so we have some consistency. Let's see. So 15%. Let's find our, while I'm talking about it, let's find that 15%. So that was 10%. We have this here at 10%. And then we have 15% all the way down on NASDAQ at 22,834. All right, let's see if we can remember that. 834. We'll just remember 834. You guys remember 22. Just kidding. 834. I got close. 34. Enter. All right, text on that. We're going to write 15%. All-time highs, because it's still considered a correction between 10% and 20%. 20% is where it's considered sort of that crash level. Do you want to just make that regular so it matches with that other one? Again, these are my key levels. We like for key psychological levels. We also like key percent levels, right? Those are psychological points too that we're going to hear news reports. We're going to see headlines about people writing, oh my God, NASDAQ down 15% from all-time highs. People are freaking out. Meanwhile, if you're not just a day trader, you're an investor too, this could be a great time to start creating a long-term position, right? 14% from all-time highs, wherever we are right now, 13% would equal, where are we at? Oh, really? 15% to the upside. So it's always going to give you more. Yo, thank you, Tim. Appreciate you, bro. Absolutely. You too, man. Best of luck on your session, bro. Make some money. Somebody on TikTok, the homie Tim on TikTok. You guys shoot him a follow too. What is it? Timothy B. You could probably look that up on TikTok. It'll come up. He's on Instagram. It's got some numbers after. What's up, Bert? Good morning. Dan, what's up? Good morning. Hope everybody's doing good. Vincent, good morning. Adrian, hello. Joe, good morning. Yo, JB, let me know. Are we good for today? And Bert, you too. Let me know. Let me know. All right, NASDAQ 4 hour right away. I see I had marked out a 3 hour zone up here. What's up, Joe? I'm going to update that to a 4 hour just to give it that full area. I'm going to mark this S 4 hour. Let's see. 2 hour, 3 hour. I see we're sort of within. So look, you guys see how this was a 4 hour demand zone way back when? Not going to go find it because it was a long time ago. Could probably find it. Yeah, so right here it was a support. Well, now that we're breaking that zone, we're retesting it right now. But guess what? It's no longer a support, would be our resistance. What I want to do is mark out, what is this red level to? That's what I would like to know as well. We could delete that. Got to make sure clean chart is a happy chart. I do have a key level right here. I'm going to lock this one in because I even wrote KL on it, which is key level. What is that one? That's probably another key level. So really just a key area in all right up here around 23,872 on the NASDAQ. Would be great if we were able to pull back up there, but that is another 353 points away. Again, guys, though, seeing that we are in more of a bearish market, we're going to get the pullbacks that fake people out into thinking we're no longer in a bearish market just to see that fumble back, right? So be extra patient there. Wait for it to follow through and see if we can pull back towards a level. If I see that today, let's say I don't see any strong levels. This is a supply zone right here. Do S1 hour. 30-minute. Let's check our 2 hour as well. Yeah, I said that was a 2 hour, but it looks better as a 1. So we'll keep that as a 1 hour. This would be the zone I'm watching on NASDAQ today. The zone that we're testing right now. So again, market's open in 6 minutes. I really just got to wait and see how we want to open. If we open and spike right through this, yes, sir, cool. If we open and we spike right through this, then this resistance becomes support, and we will look for some short-term bulls. And we'll look to see if we can find a long position set up towards the upside here on the NASDAQ, towards that resistance level. If we are looking for buyers, probably wouldn't look for a crazy move, would only look for a smaller short-term move. Again, especially because we're in more of an overall bearish market right now. What's up, Jay? J Money, good morning. Victoria Garrett, what's up? Let's see. All right, so NASDAQ, that's what we're waiting on the NQ between 23,511, 23,610. So that is a wide range, right? That's a 100-point range there. That doesn't mean we're going to have a 100-point stop loss. It means this is my zone, my area of interest that I'm watching. And we'll see how we react to it. Do we break it and then look for the retest to go long? Or do we sell off when market opens and we look for the retest to go short? Either way, again, I'm not just taking a random trade here and taking a random stop loss. So we're going to wait. We're going to see how it wants to play out. And yeah, that's the NASDAQ. Let's see if we can find a similar setup on the ES too. So again, ES also had this 1 hour supply. So yeah, ES also has a similar supply zone. So that was an area that price sold off very hard before giving us that reversal back. So this zone on the S&P is a great level and great area to watch. We're either looking for a rejection from 64.70 to about 64.90. So this is better, right? 20 points much better than 100 points. So we'll keep an eye on this to say, okay, when markets open, do we react lower and retest to go short, or do we break higher and retest to go long? Either way, right now, what do? We stay patient. I want to see how YouTube looks right now because I'm using a different software. I'm using Restream, and I believe that there's not only a delay, but I also believe, I think there's a delay. I think the view rate's usually lower on it. Yeah, definitely a delay. Big delay. It's pretty funny. But all right, whatever, it is what it is. I'll see. Maybe I'll just get the full version of it then. Let's see. Waiting on S&P. We can put our volume profile up here. Just take a quick look at it. See, we have had some buying going on down here, so I would even possibly look for buying pressure near this. We'll go 63.91 to about 64.08. Good morning, everybody. So 64.10 to the downside. Look at that 12 passive buyer. Yeah, we've got some levels. We'll see. Again, we're range bound. More bearish markets are, it's funny, they're easier and harder at the same time. Some people find them easier because the moves are a lot more violent to the downside when they do step in. So traders who are a bit better off on holding, they do better in markets like this, right? The diamond hand traders. What's up, Ironclad? Diamond hand. Hey, good morning, Joyce. How are you? Exhausted Trader. Frank, what's going on? Bell, Peter, Andrea, good morning. Hope everybody's doing good today, man. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. What's today? The 30th. It is March 30th. It's almost April already. We're going to be saying that all year. Wow, I can't believe it's this day. I can't believe it's that day. What's up, Brian? Good morning. All right, so 15-minute time frame wise, if we do, what do we got? 40 seconds for market to open. I was going to say if we can just climb higher here for the last 30 seconds, could possibly look for a retrace to this zone, take some longs, targeting. Where's our previous day high? Previous day high is all the way up there, right? So that'd be a pretty wide range, pretty big move right there. But quite honestly, other than that zone, I don't really have any other supply above us. So that could possibly be a target. I do have this little area right here, but I don't want to start cluttering my chart with too many zones. So we'll fade this one out, but I do just want to be aware of it. All right, here comes market open. I'd much rather see us dump and find selling pressure towards 64.10, but we'll see how we want to hold this level. 15-minute would really need us to hold. 64.56 would be like the hard stop now. So if you are looking for longs, could take it here. 64.56 stop loss. I'm not taking this trade myself, but it can possibly be a good risk to reward there, even if we do stay range bound, right? Go right there 3-1. But again, I'm not taking it myself. Market's just open. It's Monday. If you have confidence in it, you have a trade setup that aligns with that, go for it. Hey, what's up? Good morning, man. How are you? Sorry, then what indicators on the right side? Are you on the right side, like the volume profile over here? These levels, these guys. Just saw your message right now, Vincent. Let me know. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's the volume profile. Look at that, guys. Longs did hold in that level. This is the volume profile. What the volume profile does is it's different from the volume on the subgraph, which is the volume down here. Volume on the subgraph shows you the volume per candle. So it only shows you how much volume was traded in that time frame, whereas the volume profile shows you the volume traded per price level. So that gives you a lot more insight into, okay, how much interest was there at this level before? And can we look for a possible reaction at this level then? So volume profile, great tool right there. Maybe I'll do a bonus on the trading strategy webinar and do a little bit over volume profile. We'll see. I might just stick it to the 3, see how it does. And if it does well, then maybe we'll do a volume profile webinar too. You got it. Absolutely. Anytime there's a question, do not hesitate. These sellers got absorbed at first. I'm staying patient. I'm not jumping into anything. No point in rushing into trades. Never is. Again, though, if you see something, you have confidence in it, you take it. Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning. Let's see. There we go. Some sellers stepping in. This is not a buyer's market, so just beware. NASDAQ has hit correction territory. Overall market sentiment is a lot more bearish than bullish. One of the main reasons I'm not taking this, again, that does not mean it's not going to work out. One of the things that is keeping me a bit more bullish is that we don't have much resistance above us other than the zone we're in right now. So because we've been consolidating on it, sometimes what we get is that chop before we're finally able to break through, versus when we actually hold it as resistance, we'll move in and we'll move out and react very quickly. So look for that reaction, but just stay patient, right? Markets have just opened. It's been 3 minutes. No reason to force or rush into any kind of trade.
Hey, check out that volume on the first 3 minutes of the trading on the NQ. Enormous selling.
That's a lot of volume picking up.
That happened last Friday.
So what do you think? Is a lot of volume? Not a lot of volume.
That's a higher volume of selling. Means there's a shitload of buying happening there, right?
We'll see. If you know what it is too, if there's a lot of volume coming in and price fails to move higher, then that's just a lot of absorption going on too. NASDAQ making a new low a day on the New York session. There we go, sellers. That's what we like to see. Beautiful. VIX trying to move lower, but we do have to be careful. VIX is still above 27. It's above 29. High VIX, high volatility. Would still be in more of an uncertain or not a crisis mode yet. Crisis mode on the VIX is like above 35, 40. Hey, good morning, everybody. Let's see. There we go. And Q with a bit of a sell-off there. Apple's weak, Microsoft's weak, Meta's weak. Yes, looks okay for some shorts now, right? Glad we didn't take the longs. Just had to be patient with ourselves, understand the trade we were looking at. It is rejecting its value area high right now over here, 64.70 as well, which lines up with the supply zone we had marked out, 64.70 right there. So that's pretty clean. Possibly looking for shorts off a retrace to 58. Target VWAP. We'll see. A lot of selling coming in here. CVD's pushing back to the downside. It was positive 3,000 overnight session. But here we go, some selling. Phenomenal. Yeah, right up here, 54 to like 60. So 60 is where I'd want my stop loss to be, 64, so I can move that lower then. Possibly look for this area for shorts. Really right up in the 60. I guess like where are we at? 57 entry, 64 stop loss. VIX trying to move back higher. VIX is within its previous day's range. Again, we're in a more bearish market. So sellers, when they do step in, they have momentum. Nvidia's selling off right now. Google's selling off. Meta and Microsoft are holding up a little bit. Apple is too. It did just make a new low a day on this 5-minute, but it is wicking higher right now. But again, still an overall more bearish sentiment. Be patient. Waiting for a pullback entry near like 58.60 on the ES. So between 64.58, 64.60. Powell speaks in less than an hour. He speaks at 10:30. Looking for this zone right in here in Bookmap. Look, I like how we're consolidating down here, right? We're consolidating between like, we'll say 46 and 52. So then I'd want to see a pullback towards this low volume area to go short. There we go. Nice move. And it's also now creating a fair value gap there too. We do have a lot lining up, overlapping this zone for a possible short entry on the S&P. Minute 17 left in the 5 minutes to close. Nice move there on NASDAQ. Went from supply to about 100 points to the downside. The NAS being a bit of an easier sell opportunity. Obviously, both of them moved very nicely, but NAS just giving a lot stronger momentum when the selling kicks in compared to the ES because of its being much closer connected to the equities. I'm sorry, the tech equities, I should say.
Now we're down near the measured move low here at 64.43.5 on the ES. That's going to be the bottom of the 5-minute candle at 8:05 a.m. We are just below the pivot point of the ES. We've got obviously a variety of 1-minute fair value gaps overhead on the 1 minute. We have dip to toe on the 1-minute RSI oversold, but I think we need to take out 64.43.5 first and set a new low. There we go. Just did that. Now let's see what happens from there. All right, we're in the 111 area. We took out a tiny little fair value gap. The lowest, the 236 is at 64.39. So we are in the reversal zone. So we're looking to see if we're going to close and go back inside the box. If we do not, our south side target 64.34 and a quarter.
Good selling here, man. Told you guys, seller's market. Sell, sell, sell. Do not want to be buyers up here. I'm not in anything right now. This thing's sort of just running. I might take some micros on a scalp, but nothing worthy of just like being like, go take it right now. Sell these lows. Just that would be awful. awful. Because risk, it all matters also, guys, on your risk appetite, right? As funny as that sounds, but how much you can really stomach risk-wise. Are you one of those traders that can hold into 200 drawdown if you're only looking to make $100, or are you a trader, which that's not me, I'd rather not do that, or are you a trader that would get stopped out? You'd re-enter, you get stopped out again, re-enter. It's not, if that's you and you know that's you, it's not worth it. Just wait for a pullback. If that pullback doesn't happen, it is what it is. But pullbacks, 9 times out of 10, will occur off of real moves in the market. If we're getting a real move right now, remember, we're zoomed in on the 5-minute chart right here. When in doubt, zoom out. Look at the 15-minute. Look at the 30-minute. These are the time frames, the hourly. These are the time frames that catch trends. So don't be so impatient, especially the hourly, right? That one is so helpful because that close is coming up very soon in 18 minutes at 10 o'clock. Don't forget too, Powell speaks at 10:30. That could either be nothing or everything.
If we look at the 5-minute chart, and we go back to around 5:30 a.m. to 6:45 a.m. area on the 5-minute chart, we see a lot of horizontal there, bar coding, and that represents a chop area, and we have stuck our toe into that chop area. And these are going to be little small volume nodes and things like that where there was a pricing decision. So they make for good magnets to go to them. What we have to be careful of is thinking about any kind of a short below 64.40 because that goes into a chop zone. And we have to be careful about we get in these chop zones and we can get stopped out very easily. That our move may work long term, but short term, we may get tore up in this chop zone. So we need to be mindful in an ideal situation. We wait till we close and we're away from it.
Yep. All right, waiting on this pullback here, ladies and gentlemen. See if we do get anything of interest. Getting a little bit of pullback there. 1:09 left on this 5-minute. Same concept of being patient, guys, in the market right now. I was mentioning before being patient on the hourly time frame. Be patient also on the 5-minute. If you see that we have 3 minutes left for the candle to close and we're all the way down here and we have 3 whole minutes left, are you really going to sell that at the low? That's 3 whole minutes. It's plenty of time for it to completely reverse on you and create that lower wick. Whereas you let that candle close, you have that momentum, say, okay, look, we wicked higher. I found we moved higher for the first minute. We have 4 minutes left. We start moving back lower on that candle. We move red. We had momentum before. Then you take it. Then you have your stop loss at that current candle's high, right? That gives you some momentum. That gives you a stronger bit of a stop loss. You could take that for a 2-to-1, maybe target VWAP. Just an example. Just an example. Right now is a lot of selling volume, a lot of selling pressure. Nothing we would want to jump in front of. Just looking for a pullback if there's going to be one.
So I just posted a picture of that chop zone I'm talking about. That's on the 5-minute. And we just kind of need to be mindful of that. It kind of looks like almost looks a little bit like a demand zone, sort of, kind of. Maybe that's more Kevin's expertise. But like I said, we need to be mindful when we're down into that little zone.
Yep. This is the last point of consolidation before price moved away from it. Good spot. Would love to see a little pullback from here, but we definitely had momentum in these last few candles and solid volume behind them too. Microsoft looks like it's getting ready to tear lower, but it's holding up. Come on now. And look at this, guys, CVD. So our session volume, I should really rename this one. RTH volume delta. RTH volume delta. Look at the selling at the lows, right? People are still selling at lows. Sellers are expecting and accepting price at lower levels. I really want to pull back towards this 54 zone. Only way I'd be taking these shorts on ES is we get that pullback entry. No, I look at that guy's breaking lower. Again, though, just because I'm not taking it short right now does not mean I'm taking it long, right? That would be silly. We don't want to buy in markets that are clearly showing us selling pressure, selling pressure, selling pressure. Could definitely even look to take the breakdowns on the breakdowns and keep your stop at the recent highs, right? If this momentum follows through, we should not return to those recent lower highs, lower lows. Let's see. Again, right now, it's not a trade setup that I would be looking for, but very strong markets. Even over here, 45 would be a reasonable little pullback. Good sellers here at the low still. I mean, that's crazy, dude. We're down 0.5% in the first 15 minutes of the market. 20 minutes, I should say. It's been 17, 18 minutes total. Markets have been open. And Powell's going to speak, and it's just going to go lower. Alrighty, look at the sellers saying, hold up, wait a minute, we want some more.
I guess they're gonna have another.
Yeah, right. Pretty much. Boom, boom, boom. Lower, lower, lower. Nice move here, man. Waiting on a pullback entry. Amazon moving lower. Apple's trying to move lower. Microsoft looked like it was going to move lower this candle. It hasn't moved lower once this whole candle. But yeah, look at these sellers. Negative deltas, negative deltas. We're seeing momentum. We're not going to see a pullback anytime soon. Not yet. 15-minute. Wow. Yeah, 64.56 would be great. Just a small 30-point pullback. And it just keeps moving low. Small 40-point pullback. Oh, our gap fill is to the downside too. You know we're gonna hit that level.
We just made a full measured move from this little 1 minute, that little chop box area I was talking about. We did a measurement of that. I'll post that up here.
Gap fill 64.07 to the downside. That is almost 100% going to get hit. I don't even need edge full to know that. That's just off of today's market structure, the momentum we're seeing, the selling pressure we're seeing. Good stuff. Took a short, nice.
So, yeah, we see that little order block right there.
Beautiful.
Defines a measured move. That little order block defines a measured move from the 942 low to the 946 high. And so we do a measured move on that. You can clearly see we came down to a 50% of the measured move. Then we had one tiny little green pullback candle. Now we've made a full 100% measured move. We're now having a pullback candle here. And then I've got fan line and VWAP down there around 64.18-ish. If we can stay in the trade to that.
All right, let's see. Hey, what's up, Tony? What's up, Preston? Good morning, guys. Jones, good morning. Jim, hello. Hope everybody's doing good. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. A lot of selling going on today. Sell, sell, sell. The floor of the exchange must look crazy right now. No, I'm just kidding. The floor is like empty now. It's not like that anymore.
So that measured move has completed itself by making a full 100% measured move. If we can have, so now we may be looking for a pullback going from the 946 high to the 951 low. If I get a pullback, 50% of that range, which puts us around 64.35-ish, we'll have a new measured move box. Remember, in order to do the measured move, there's multiple ways to do it. You've got your big ass candle, where you just go wick to wick of this oversized candle compared to the others. But a consolidation break measured move is a high, a significant low, excuse me, and then a pullback to the middle, defining a consolidation area. So we're kind of looking to see if we're going to get this 64.34 pullback issue. If we do, roughly the 50%. If we do, then we have a new measured move.
Got it. All right, guys. So you can throw a fib up to here on this move that we had here from high to low, and it'll give us our 50% from this move we just had is at 64.48. The area that we would usually look for if we're looking to use the fib for what would be called an optimal trade entry, OTE, that would be for a fair value gap like we have up here to line up in it within the 61 and 78. And we do have that level up there. Unfortunately, right, with the given market conditions we have right now, make a lot more sense for the momentum we've been seeing to continue without giving us that strong of a pullback. So you can either take it. So look, what you can do is you can look at the 64.25, say, okay, on the break below this with the big sell bubble, I'm taking short, stop around 31, right? Just looking for it to make lower, low, lower, high. Then after we pull back, go back lower again, lower, high, another lower, low, and trade that trend right now that we're seeing during this New York session. Other than that, really got to be patient. Definitely no longs. Definitely no longs. Here we go. Let's see. Nvidia's selling off. Microsoft's pushing higher. Amazon, Apple pushing higher. It's really just Nvidia that's given us this move. So I'd be careful that we try to hold this 25. Trying to break it right now. Here we go. There we go. That is crazy.
Mark that out as a measured move. We're going to consider this a measured move break. We're watching this 111 to 1236 to see, is it going to reject here and go back inside the box or not? Note that VWAP right there below us, 64.18, and there's a fan line right there. That makes a fantastic magnet.
Nice.
The intersection of multiple things, confluence. So I think 64.17, which will be a 50% measure move on deck, no question about that, in my opinion. Could be wrong, obviously, but that's what I'm saying right now.
Cool. Beautiful, right, guys? The break of the lows, take it at around the 25, stop near the 33. Not in it right now.
Dipped our toe past the 23.6, but did not close. Yes, lower than that. So here's a very deciding candle on the 1 minute. Now we kind of want to watch the tug of war on this candle.
Equities.
Go up, go down, and we're looking for exhaustion. one side is going to throw in.
Yep, Meta, Microsoft. So sorry, Marzetti. Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Google making new low of days. Not Microsoft. Sorry, I was trying to get in there. Well, good selling pressure here. It's a trend day. We're getting a trend right now. New York session.
And let me tell you, you get a trend day, you need to always have a runner that's way out in left field. If we look at, let's see, let me get a measured move on this session today. One sec.
Google wicking its previous day low right now. Nvidia made a new low a day. Wow, Nvidia's at 166 right now. That's crazy. Meta making new low day. 530 right now on Meta. Nvidia with another little drop there, guys. The selling pressure is wild. We're seeing this is considered like panic selling, right? Where people are freaking out. They're getting out of their long-term holdings. Even look at Nvidia. Nvidia hasn't been below 170. Let's see. When was the last time Nvidia was below 170? September of last year. It's been a long time. People are freaking out. Once we break below 164 here, we're in for a big move. That's a lot of panic. That's a great opportunity to start buying Nvidia versus people that are selling out of it. What would be great, I definitely don't think we're going to go back towards below 100, not on Nvidia, but maybe the 140s, the 150s spot would be a great long-term buy position on Nvidia. But that is absurd, the selling pressure we're seeing right now. Meta new low a day, Google new low a day. There's another new low day on Nvidia. Microsoft's been chopped. Apple's been trying to pull out. Boom, another low on Nvidia. More lows on ES and NQ. Good momentum trades today.
We get the VWAP, we get the fan line. Now we go into chop, very possibly. First target south, 6409 is the 100% full measured move. Otherwise, we go back. We could go whatever. But anyway, these fan lines and VWAP represent chop areas, so we want to pay attention here. This is not a good place to get into a trade. You should, if you took this short, you should have been in this trade a long time ago, and this would be your exit point, not your entry, unless you're a VWAP trader or a fan line trader. And that's fine if that's your strategy.
This is crazy. Nvidia, another new low. Google trying to dump here too. Meta pulled back pretty strong. Amazon's green on this candle, pushing higher now. Amazon's the only one with some strength, and it's pretty close to its new high a day over there. Apple finally got weak off of VWAP. So did Microsoft's. Meta's holding up. Google's pushing lower, and Nvidia's pushing lower. And markets probably going to break through this level. Now, look, guys, see how we're getting these minor pullbacks? So if we're looking to trade this trend, we would look for the break lower, so below 64.13, and stop at whichever high we get. That's how we avoid selling the actual low before reversal. Like selling right here, we see we moved a little higher. So be patient, see if we can get that breakdown. What's going on, Tony? Good morning. But we'll see. We'll see.
So note, if you look at the
Ooh.
intraday volume profile, we are in a volume node right now. It's not the point of control, but it is a volume node intraday. So that tells you there's a lot of money being spent in this little price area here at around 64.19-ish. So we have a tendency to gravitate to volume nodes. The intraday VPOC presently around 64.37. That's the intraday cumulative volume node, but right down there around 64, 17, 18-ish is a
Short entry here. Possible short here. Stop near 26. I like this low volume shelf we just tested into. Nvidia looks good to dump again. So are the rest of the equities. light size if you trade this market, guys. A lot of volatility in there. Why use TradingView for charts? Why not use the charts available on Thinkorswim? You can use Thinkorswim. If Thinkorswim is your platform that you like trade with, definitely use Thinkorswim. I use TradingView is a bit easier. The broker I use, Tradeovate, has an integration into TradingView, so I could execute on TradingView. Yeah. But Tradeovate, Thinkorswim, great too.
Thinkorswim is an investor's platform. Now, if you know how to code it and stuff like that, you can write some amazing scripts on it. It's a decent charting platform, and I used it for years and years and years as a charting platform. However, the platform itself has gotten really clunky and sluggish to use lately. Ever since Schwab took it over from TD Ameritrade. If you're looking for, you say, well, I don't have to pay a subscription fee to use Thinkorswim, like I do with TradingView. Well, fine. If you're on Tradeovate, trading on Tradeovate, get Ninja Trader. Because Ninja Trader uses the Tradeovate servers, and it is a professional level, kind of on par with TradingView, but it uses the Tradeovate servers. So you can use the Tradeovate platform, which is a good trading platform, but not a good charting platform. But Ninja Trader is Tradeovate with a professional level charting as well as trading. And that doesn't cost you anything. No charge there at all. So it's like Thinkorswim, but for your futures. The charts that you're seeing me post are over here are from Ninja Trader. I've got scripts in it. It's been around forever and ever. ChatGPT can more or less write scripts for Ninja Trader. Just a phenomenal charting platform.
Pulling back here. We're getting that 35 is coming. That'd be cool. That 35 would be a nice little pullback, that consolidation point Marzetti mentioned this morning.
All right, tiny little order block here from 9:51 to 9:54 on the 1 minute. You can see we've come back into that little order block. So that represents kind of like a little chop area decision point. You could also make a measured move off of it, but I'm standing with the bigger measured move right now from 9:46 to 9:59. Remember, when you do these measured moves, you need to make sure that the move is big enough that there's profit to be had in the whole thing in the first place. You know, if you do a measured move on a 5-second chart and you say there's 1 point of possible profit in this, it's your max possible profit, and you're on the micros, you're wasting your time. Your commissions will eat up. So you know what I'm saying. Okay, we went in that little order block. We rejected it. Very possibly, it looks like we're headed back down to VWAP. So that's part of learning to use the measured move tools and stuff like that. You don't want to do the measured move on the weekly if you're intraday trading, because your targets are so far away, you'll never hit them, or at least patience-wise will drive you crazy. But you can't make them so tight that they hit 100% every time, but I'm not making any money because they're too small. So we want to stick with, look for those sweet spots.
You guys answered anything? Yeah, I tried a small short up here around the 27.5 area, and I cut it at 27. Obviously, we were just chopping around. But other than that, I'm not seeing a better pullback. Rather be patient in this. We had better, like right here, we're starting to break lower again. Could take a stab here, stop near this 25. I just wouldn't yet. The only time I'm taking a break down in these markets is when we're actually making that new low of day, right? When we make that new low of day with the VIX moving higher as well, that gives us good confirmation on the trend to take that for some continuation. But at this point, NASDAQ's also in a small demand zone, nothing major. We have broken it overnight, but we are trying to hold. See, that's why that 25 would have stopped you really quick. So no trades right now. We're seeing a little bit of, like Marzetti would say, exhaustion in the market, where we had this big move. Markets opened, we sold off 50 points on the S&P. Well, now those sellers, they're going to want to exit their position. They're going to want to take some profit. They're going to get out. We're going to see a consolidation, possibly a pullback, and then maybe continuation. I would like to see a pullback and continuation on this big move.
All right, so we have put in a higher low on the chart here with the 1007 candle. We have a little bit of a lopsided head, inverted head and shoulders, which would put the right shoulder would be
Connected to your elbow.
yeah, connected to your foot.
Yeah.
But we also have what's called a 3-drive setup, which is 3 lower lows or 3 higher highs kind of thing. In which case we draw a trend line. So here's a couple of possible scenarios. We can draw a trend line from the low of 951 to the low of 959. Now we have a 3-drive, it'll go down to that little small trend line. But remember, this is a real small, short time trend line. Another observation, we have hit that fan line, that VWAP, all of that area there, a little rejection, came back, made another run at it with a higher low. So this tells us that there's people that have gone long here and they do not want to get stopped out. So they're adding to their position to stay in their trade long. So we say, what else do we see? Well, if we, again, on the 1-minute chart, if we look at 948, you can see that at 947, we had a sizable bar. So we got a lot of shorts though here at that 948 time. I'm calling out time here. 948 candle high and the 954 AM candle high. So if we pull back, we're hunting for those stops. But at the same time, if we run those stops, the intraday VPOC is still here at 64.37. So we'll probably just go to that. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not, but sometimes it might be easier to do a visual instead of talking it through. But we may do another session after yours or something like that, talk about what you see and that kind of thing.
Sure. I'd like to see a pullback, guys. Updating our fib tool before we put our fib tool. It was it's at this low. Because we moved lower than that, we want to update it for the full move. So from this high to this low. Now we're seeing some actual pullbacks. We want to see if we can at least pull back to that 50% at 64.42. The next fair value gap we have above that would be at around 45, 46. 45 is a low volume area. You can be careful on that. Just again, looking for a short entry, being patient for a pullback, not rushing or forcing anything. Because guess what? If we be patient, we get our reaction here, we start selling off. We have now seen how markets are trading today when sellers take control. So if we can pull back, chop our way back higher, Sellers take control. And if we don't get this top tick entry, we could wait for us to sell off, get another red candle, take that entry, stop at the high we just created, and take that lower with good momentum. So regardless, patience is going to be key right now. Taking a look at our equities, Nvidia's pulling back, Google's holding its previous day low. That's a great key level on equities. So is Nvidia. Nvidia got back within its previous day's range too. Meta within its previous day's range. It did have selling pressure before, but that has now failed. It held this old resistance point, now a support. Microsoft extremely range bound. So right now I am just seeing range on equity, so I would want to see a bit of a pullback here on ES and NQ.
It looks like we're putting in this inverse head and shoulders. So the top of it is going to be the 948 high at 64.34. Excuse me, we go by, I'm sorry, wrong one, the shoulder. The shoulder would be the 954 high. 954 high would be that shoulder. And then, of course, the head down here at 64, 13 and a quarter. Did I call that out right?
Nah. I don't know, did you?
Whatever.
Let's see. Some buying coming in. They're pulling back. Again, guys, this buying does not mean we're reversing to the buy side. Look at all that selling pressure that came in here. Ideally, this morning, we were looking at a retest of 53 to 59. Well, look at that. Nvidia is pumping right now. Now, I wouldn't say pumping just yet. This candle is very strong, though, to the upside. Almost $1 move there on this 5-minute. There you go. It's still moving. This would be $1 move right over here. 68.09. Got close. 54 seconds left in the 5-minute. Don't forget, Powell speaks at 10:30. Again, that could be a whole lot of nothing, or it could be something. Let's see, validates OBR forecast and fiscal credibility. Signals weather growth is slowing as expected. Influences Bank of England rate path timing. Interesting. Energy shock impact on economic momentum. Stronger than expected GDP could support GBP and reduce near term. Why GBP? Is that wrong? Should I tell them? Is that wrong? Or maybe it's got an... Huh? Right? Interesting. I think they meant USD there.
Trend crayon is drawing here. You see the trend coming into the inverse head and shoulders is bearish. And then we have the left shoulder, we have the head, we have the right shoulder. And so between those two horizontal lines that I drew would be the measured move. Now, as we can see though, if we look at the measured move, if I were to actually draw the fib there, you would see that it failed the 111. It failed the 111. So even though we got a pattern, patterns fail. And in this case here, we need to know about like the 111 rule because, that can indicate the failure of a pattern. So at this point, this inverse head and shoulders appears to have failed.
Let's see. Be patient here. Don't jump into anything just yet. If we're not at an area that you've found, we're not at a zone you have predetermined, then the reaction is just noise.
So we're back down here at the intraday VPOC. We are on the Bollinger Band midpoint of the 1 minute. So again, we have come back to a volume node. Volume nodes are really a big deal. Just like Kevin's footprints and stuff like that, they reveal volume nodes on different time frames. Volume nodes are a real big deal. And you know, it's just like when something gets overstretched or in crisis, it runs for safe space. And that's what volume nodes are, safe space. And, you know, you ever played?
No.
Where you tag, where you ran to the tree and you dealt base. And you couldn't be tagged if you were on, I guess tag.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, tag you're in, but if you were at base, you were safe. And that's what volume nodes kind of represent, is safe.
Yep. That's interesting. Interesting perspective. All right, guys, I'm waiting to see if we get a 5-minute close bearish here. Hopefully, it could help signal sellers taking back control. At this point, equities did try to flip more bullish. We had Google failing to close below its previous day low again. Nvidia is above its VWAP, trying to hold. Amazon was sort of flagging out like a bull flag, so every time sellers stepped in, it wicked back up to the upside. Apple also pretty choppy, looking a bit more bearish there, but it is in a support zone. Microsoft has just been barcoding all day, really no clear direction off of that one. And same with Meta. So let the candles close. If we get a strong close to the downside, Nvidia starts pushing back bearish. Apple gives us that close near new low a day. Google closes below its previous day low. VIX moving back higher. That's a nice little indication of taking shorts on the next candle to ride that back down to new low a day. 54 seconds left and we'll know. Question, so on the short time term pullbacks, are short sellers taking profit? Yeah, exactly, Frank. Yeah, so when we see pullbacks like these, this could be profit taking, but it's no longer, we see it's usually a lot lower in volume when that happens because it's profit taking versus aggressive selling has been going on. Looks solid to try to take a short position would be smaller size, possibly look for, really ideally would try to enter near VWAP, stop near the highs we created. 7 seconds left, new low day target. That's a 2-to-1 right there. Look at this wick we're trying to create there. It's not the best looking for confirmation on this.
All right, new measured move. 9:59 a.m. low to the 10:15 a.m. high.
Yeah.
Now we want to pay attention to whether we're in the upper 50% or the lower 50% of that.
No short. No short here. Higher lows being formed off of this recent price action and higher highs were being formed with them. So be careful that we don't take out this 35 right now. Short-term pullback. If we can take this, if we take out 19 though, 64.19, we're probably in for a nice move towards 64.07. Let's see, guys. Just got some headlines there. No, nothing really.
Still hovering on the volume node. When we chop on this volume node like this, there's just this rest. This is the market resting while the algos, the institutions, whatever, are trying to decide where are they going next.
Yeah, no, it's starting to look a bit more convincing on the shorts. I just have a hard time trusting these markets after we had such a big move like that, especially because we did not pull back towards the level I was looking for, that 64.50. But we did get the bearish pushback lower. We rejected this other area of consolidation we had as resistance now. So it does have a few things lining up. Again, I wouldn't want to go long here, but if I was going short, I would be going lighter in size. Never a reason to jump in, never a reason to go too heavy. Our job is to take trades in markets that we have good conviction and good confidence in, so that when we're in markets that we don't have that much confidence in, we're a lot easier to say, okay, I'm just going to sit out and wait then. Because look, I was just saying, oh, this looks short. Well, wait, we held this higher low. I don't know yet. We could take out this 35. Guess what? That could still happen. Got a headline right there. Powell speaks in 7 minutes, guys. 7 minutes, Powell will start to speak. We'll probably get a bunch of headlines at that point. If he says anything about markets being hawkish, we're going to dump, right? Markets might stay range-bound for the next 7 minutes up to Powell speaking. So, again, be patient. Sit on your hands if you have to, but do not jump into any trades that could go against you very quickly.
When you have somebody like Powell speaking, there's a statement initially, and then there's a Q&A session. Algos are interpreting the transcript of what he says. And if they pick up on a hawkish or dovish tone, they can trigger immediately on one sentence that he says.
Yep.
So we always kind of have to be aware of that. And then in the Q&A section, some reporter could ask, did you put your pants on left leg first or right leg first? And the algos treat that whatever, and next thing you know, they go crazy or whatever. So remember that there's, there's the statement, and then there's the Q&A session. But anytime that you've got a figure like Powell or Trump speaking, you want to have tight stops or avoid the trade completely. One or the other.
Yeah. Look at this, guys. Hard consolidation. Nvidia pushing lower, Amazon's pushing higher. Microsoft, new high day in the New York session right there, hitting previous day's high right now. Nvidia trying to dump to previous day's low. We have that divergence in equities right now, which tells me no trades. Our equities should all be seeing the same general direction because of the mass amounts of order flow that we get, not from retail traders, but from the institutions, right? When institutional investors are all weighted heavy towards one direction, that's when we get our trends. When it's a 50-50, that's usually when we want to stay out of markets. Hey, what's going on, guys? Let's see. Good morning. Happy Monday. It's 10:25. Powell speaks in less than 4 minutes. I do wonder if we could pull up Powell speaking, like on YouTube or something. Let me see. Powell. Powell speech live. Yeah, okay. So guys, if you want, we could keep it up. Pull it up and we'll see.
And I just posted a little wick to wick trend line. Very short term. It's on the 1 minute, so it's not necessarily any good for the 30-minute or the hourly. But we watch for price to come down to that little short-term trend line and see what is it going to do. Is it going to react on it? What we are currently experiencing here is what's called a bear flag. Price was bearish coming into it. It's doing sort of like a check mark, coming down, coming back up. And so that's defining a bear flag. If it goes through, if it breaks below that little trend line, we've got the measured move marked out here, and that will give us, we can use the measured move for our targets, but we can also watch for a reaction on that little wick to wick trend line.
All right, guys, let's see. T minus 2 minutes for Mr. J Pow. Pow Pow. Let's see. The live stream, guys, I'll pull up the live stream too when he's going live so we can hear it live. And if you don't have the live stream, right, you use a tool like Market. This will also, as soon as he says something, if he says something that is worthy of notability, it's going to pop up here in the high impact headlines tab here on Market. So regardless, we will have everything. Here we go. Looks like the ball. We're getting ready to rumble. No, thank you. I mean, it's funny because some people are unaware of what's going on. They're waiting for Powell to speak. They don't know about rate hikes, rate cuts. What's he going to do? But you could use tools like the Fed Watch tool, and see where we're at in terms of odds of a rate cut versus rate hike. And we know that we have more of a chance of a rate hike than cut at this point. We also know that they could also hold rates steady. Look at this. They have, wow, 90% chance that we're holding rates by October. But it'll give some insight because we do have to listen to what the Fed has to say. But knowing the fundamentals overall ourselves and understanding what means what and what impacts what, we know the whole oil situation, the Strait of Hormuz, it's going to impact inflation. We know they can't cut rates when inflation is high. And they might even go to the opposite side of it and start to hike rates if inflation starts moving high. So a lot to consider, a lot to be patient, and we'll really have to see what Powell has to say. It is March. May is when he steps down, as long as the other guy is sworn in, Kevin Warsh. You're right in here, join Bullishbrs.
Down to that little trend line that I just posted. We bounced off of it. Now that is algorithmic trading going on right there. Ran back to base to the volume line. But when we wicked off of that trend line, people went long, expecting a bounce, be it algos or retail traders. Got one, and now we wait to see, are we going to take out the 64.33 candle high and then the 64.35 high. But if there's not enough momentum in these buyers, we're going to crash probably very hard back through this trend line to the south. We'll see.
Look, this is funny. They're trying to figure it out. This is like a Zoom meeting or whatever. They're trying to figure out how to get Powell up now, it looks like. Look, you can see their mouse.
What color tie is he wearing? I mean,
And if he says good morning or afternoon.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of silly little superstitions like what color tie is he wearing? Is that a signal to people? I think it was Greenspan was what color, which briefcase did he carry today and stuff like that.
It's funny. Hey, he's still not talking. I'll see if there's another link. Maybe he's live somewhere else. I think that's it. And obviously, markets aren't reacting to anything. So yeah, no, that is it. He's late. He had to go get his coffee. 5,000 people waiting on you, Mr. Powell. Plus, so obviously people that aren't watching the live stream. Don't be in any trades when he does start to speak. A lot of volatility can kick in.
Notice the main chat I added and second time line wick to wick, which now shows us being in a wedge.
Nice.
So we're in a bear flag wedge. As we get closer and closer to the end of that tip, the odds of the breakout become greater and greater.
Wow, Microsoft, look at equities, guys. Microsoft flying new high a day. Nvidia's dumping. Apple's range bound. Every other equity is range bound. Meta's trying to move higher. Definitely no trades. It almost seems like markets, institutions, market makers, all that are waiting for Powell to speak before giving us anything. So on that note, we wait and we see. Is there any way to see volume in the market 15 minutes ago versus now? I mean, you could look at the 15-minute chart, right, and see the total volume there. Say, okay, here's on this 15-minute time frame from 10 o'clock, so 10 o'clock to 10:15 versus 10:15 to 10:30 right here. Okay, here comes Powell.
But this morning, I expect interest rates to be jacked up 5 points.
Giving him a little hand around. Did you guys hear this on YouTube, on Discord?
It sounds like Max in the background on Discord.
Oh, no. I could probably share my screen and show you guys. People on street offer $100 for tonight. Nice. That's cool. That's cool.
There's the break.
Yeah, markets are dropping. All right, I'll let you guys know if he says anything interesting. I'll let you know if Powell even starts to talk. You guys are just gonna keep talking him up. I want an intro like this. NASDAQ new low today. ES did not make one yet. VIX is sort of range bound. Still going. All right, here we go. Oh, that's funny. That was a good ad placement. Watch order flow. Oh, he said thank you. All right, it's going over his background and everything. Unless he hiccups and says, excuse me, rate hikes. We're not going to get anything off of his introduction. When he starts talking about things that are a bit more direct, talking about the economy and stuff, we might even see on Bookmap that they start to pull orders. Range bound, still nothing. Is this week Good Friday? Yeah, market's closed this Friday, guys. Non-farm payroll this Friday, though. I will be covering it on market in the morning. That'll be the only live stream that day because New York session is going to be closed. It won't really officially be closed on futures. Futures close at 1 p.m. Eastern. But New York session, being the NYSE, stocks, equities, those will be closed. So most likely won't have clean or smooth price action. We might because of the non-farm payroll and unemployment. So that's why I'll cover that on the live stream. Okay, here we go. Can you describe the path going forward? Nice. Nothing really there. Just talking about how they all might disagree sometimes, but it's good to get perspective from everybody. Market's still doing nothing. Going to the Fed's balance sheet. Again, I'll keep it playing on another tab, guys. I don't want to bore you guys with it. It's definitely not giving us anything of interest, but I'll keep it open in case they do say something about interest rates. Did they say something? No. Tension between objectives. I mean, that's tension between objectives. There's tension between the Fed's two objectives. Yeah, but it's not really what he said, but I guess sure. clearly we're seeing a bit of that being priced in right now. There we go. Seeing some selling off of that. Nice. Nasdaq below a day. This could be a short here. Stop near 27.
There's VWAP, and just took out the little small amount there, the 37 a.m. candle, not a big deal.
All right.
Line
He
64.13.
he said once you cut interest rates to zero, what else are you going to do? So he's sort of saying, listen, you're going to do that, and then what's going to happen? We're out of ideas.
You just go to Hawaii and take a vacation.
Yeah. Talking about yields. So much going on. Come on. Talking about quantitative easing now. He just mentioned QE, quantitative easing. Here we go. I'd be in the camp that there's something to that. Hawkish comment on inflation. Yep. Here we go. See.
Line and the bottom of measured move box.
Talk about the dynamics of inflation. Still hasn't reached its 2% target. Okay. Says that they've got confidence. They want to reach that 2%.
Of course, he's going to say that. Expecting to say, we expect this to be a total disaster. It's going to fail. No. All right, price came down towards the bottom of the box, temporarily rejecting. People do not want to get stopped out, so they're adding to their position.
Okay, he just said that would be a soft landing. Saying again how tariff inflation's one-time price increase. Don't be short right now. These are bullish comments at the moment. Interesting. Powell said this the inflation we had from the tariffs is not as strong as the inflation we had from what do you say, COVID? Okay, oil, here we go. Finally, bro. Yep. He doesn't want to answer.
Whipped out of the box, get back inside the box, back down on a profile. That was a liquidity run. So the idea here is that we grab the now.
Alright. Then I was asking about the independence and everything. So we keep that a little lower, keep that in the background for now. And as we see with market, if he does say anything of importance, of value, that markets will react to. It is coming up right here in our market dashboard, so that does make it a bit easier. Don't have to be glued to a live stream, especially if it's going to be one like this where it's pretty back and forth. Very choppy price action, guys. Look at this right here. Look at our current price action. We had a crazy nice move in the morning, pulled back, gave us the pullback towards that order block area, tried to reject, failed to make new low of the day, pulled back. It did make a new high right there. It's very choppy. It's all over. It's no longer finding that trend that we had in the morning till 10. Now since 10, it's 10:50 now. We've just been up and down. We're going to wrap that up on, what's it called? On TikTok, because that's just whatever. Two parties have a difference on regulation. Again, things we know. Only way we look for a trade now, guys, is if we can start breaking lower with momentum. Right now, this is not a market we would look to trade. Even the trend earlier that we had that I did not take trades myself, I was still telling you guys, look, on these breaks, we have volume. Look for continuation. This is a trend. This is a trend. Until, boom, it was no longer a trend. Jack, that's a great question. So I get how news affects day trading. How much does it affect long-term swing trading? It's got a much bigger impact on swing trading, in my opinion, because it all depends on the strength of the news or the report that's coming out. Now, if it's something that's a bit more short-term, let's say we got CPI in, next week. We get CPI, it comes out. It's a little higher than expected, but nothing crazy. It might just give us some continuation of the downtrend that we've been seeing. But let's say for whatever reason, inflation came in a lot cooler than expected. That could be something really bullish. That might help give us a pivot in the markets. Might be short term, might be long term if it had an impact then on the Fed. So it depends on the strength of the news, of the headline, or of the data event that comes out. But most definitely has an impact on the overall trend. This higher time frame trend that we've had to the downside now, this stronger bearish trend started with the war, right? That was a news catalyst. That was a headline. So catalysts cause our trends on the higher time frame and definitely help on the lower as well. All right, talking about concerns about cybersecurity and stuff. I'm turning this off. Thank you, Mr. Powell. Thank you for Nada Enchilada. That's that Tim guy. Let's see. Nas trying to hold lower. ES in a range. Okay, not looking to trade this. You take a short here, you get stopped out. You go long here, you get stopped out. It's 10:54 already. We had that move from 9:30 to 10. All right. You know what, though? Again, I was expecting, we're anticipating, we're looking for stronger and continuation lower on the S&P and NASDAQ this week. Look how bearish that weekly candle was last week and the week prior and the week before that and the week before that. Look at this, guys. We're on 3, 4, 5 red weeks in a row. This is week number 6. That hasn't happened in a long time. Even when we had the crash last year, it had 4 weeks in a row, a green week, 2 weeks in a row, and then it reversed. So 5 bearish weeks in a row. That's pretty hefty. Volume's been pretty consistent with the selling as well. Now, I'm not saying consistent selling like this is selling volume here, but the volume I see is consistent in that it is all remaining this high. And we're seeing selling pressure here because we're obviously moving lower in price. So bearish is our trend until proven otherwise. Those types of markets are very interesting and they definitely do take some adapting, right? So because we saw it was a nice, clean, strong trend today off of the supply zone, then guess what? Tomorrow I'm going to be looking for a similar trade setup. It's only Monday. We got 5 days of trading. So we got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Well, actually, not this week. We have 4 days of trading. No, yes, this week we do have 5 days of trading because non-farm payroll. We're going to trade that. We're going to kill it. So regardless, guys, we're just chilling. Don't let Mondays, don't let this range ruin you. Blow your account in a single day or overtrade, revenge trade. Not worth it. If you're in profit, call it a day. Took some scalps to the downside this morning when we were falling out of the sky. Fantastic, call it a day. But right here, right now, no trade until maybe even we possibly pull back towards this 54 to 60 area. That's all the way up here. Other than that, I really wouldn't look to trade this range. Again, unless we got the move lower, the consolidation, a manipulation, and then distribution back lower again. So this would be our range, our fake out to the upside, and then a reversal back lower. We look to enter somewhere over here, stop at the high, and that would be the trade I'd look for. Other than that, guys, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Hope you guys had a good trading day. And if anybody has questions, please feel free to shoot me a message. Later.
Thank you.
Later. Absolutely. Peace out, everybody. Peace. You're welcome. You got it.